Here's an experiment psychologists have been repeating for 40 years. You hand someone a plain coffee mug, the kind that costs about $5 in any shop, and you let them hold it for 90 seconds. Then you ask what they'd sell it for. On average, they want around $7. But the person sitting right beside them who'd happily buy that exact same mug will only offer about 3. Same mug, same room, and the only thing that changed is who's holding it. That gap has a name, and it's quietly running your money decisions right now. It's called the endowment effect, and it's one of the most reliable quirks in all of behavioral economics. The idea is simple. The moment something becomes yours, you value it more, not because it got any better, but purely because you own it. 90 seconds of ownership was enough to roughly double the mug's price in someone's head. So now think about the things you've owned for 90 months, the car in your driveway, the shares sitting in your account, the clutter in your closet you swear you might need someday. Ownership has quietly inflated the price of all of it. Economists actually have two names for these two prices. There's what you'd pay to get something, call it the buyer's price, and there's what you'd demand to give up the very same thing once it's yours, the owner's price. In a perfectly rational world, those two numbers would be identical. A mug is a mug, but they are not identical, not even close. The owner's price is reliably higher, often by double. You become, in effect, two different people depending on which side of the table you happen to be sitting on. And this isn't a one-off fluke. Run the mug study with strangers, with students, even with seasoned traders, and the gap shows up again and again. Sellers, on average, anchor near $7. Buyers, on average, sit near 3. Put those side by side and the picture is almost comical. Two groups of people staring at the identical object, valuing it more than 2 to 1 apart. Nothing about the mug is different. Everything about their relationship to it is. So why does simply owning something make it feel more valuable? The answer is loss aversion. Once the mug is yours, selling it doesn't feel like a neutral trade anymore. It feels like a loss. And decades of research show that losses hurt about twice as much as the same-sized gain feels good. So you instinctively demand a little extra to cover the sting. The endowment effect isn't really about loving your stuff. It's about your deep, hardwired hatred of letting go. Now here's why this matters far beyond a coffee mug. Because the same instinct surfaces wherever you own something. You hold a losing stock long past the point of sense, because selling means admitting the loss is finally real. You list your car or your home above what anyone will actually pay, because to you, obviously, it's worth more. You keep a subscription you forgot you even had because canceling feels like giving something up. And you fill a closet with things you'll never touch, insisting but it's still worth money. Same bias, 4 expensive faces. Take the investment one because it's the most costly. You own a stock that's drifted sideways for 2 years, going nowhere. The endowment effect whispers, hold on, it's yours, it'll come back. So here's the test that cuts straight through it. Imagine the owner, you and a fresh you. The version with the same cash but no attachment, seeing this stock for the very first time. Owner you won't let go. But fresh you only sees today's price and asks the obvious question, at this number, would I actually buy this? If fresh you wouldn't buy it, owner you has no real reason to keep it. So how do you beat a bias wired this deep? You can't delete it, but you can outsmart it with one habit. Before you refuse to sell, list, or cancel anything, run the reset. Pretend just for a second that you don't already own it. Then ask the only question that matters. At today's price, with completely fresh eyes, would I choose to buy this or sign up for this right now? If the answer is a clear no, the endowment effect is the only thing still holding you in. Let it go and free up the money for something you'd actually choose. So bring it all back to that mug. $5 in the shop. The buyer offers 3, the owner demands 7. And the only thing separating them is 90 seconds of ownership. That gap is the endowment effect, And it doesn't stop at mugs. It's in your portfolio, your driveway, your closet, and your forgotten subscriptions, quietly insisting that whatever you own is worth more than it really is. Disarm it with one question: would I buy this again today? And you'll finally start pricing your life by what things are actually worth, not by who happens to be holding them. If this reframed how you see the things you're holding on to, try the experiment tonight. Pick one thing you'd never sell and ask what you'd honestly pay for it today. The answer can be uncomfortable and freeing. For the next step, watch our breakdown of the sunk cost trap, the close cousin that keeps you paying for things you should have already quit. And remember, this is education, not financial advice, so make the call that fits your life. Subscribe for one money idea clearly explained every week, and I'll see you in the next one.